Now we're going to pull the collar off of the stitching stand and we're going to trim the collar to size. There's a reason why we started stitching on this side of the collar. This is because now it's held well together. It'll be easier to cut both of the sides at the same time. So this is made to fit anything between a 12 and an 18-inch collar. So if you wanted to use the buckle hole right here, that would be a 12-inch collar. If you use this buckle hole right here, it's going to be an 18-inch collar. Now, whatever you measure to, remember that you can always trim off more collar later. You can't ever add more collar back on. So be thinking about that when you decide how short to cut it. If what you wanted was a 12-inch collar, you'd actually want to trim it to right here, right about 14. You want to leave a couple of inches so that the collar has enough space to fold back into the buckle. So we want this one to be a 14-inch collar in the end. So we're going to be trimming it just here below the 16-inch hole. We'll take the ring from the card, place it here, just over the leather, and I'm going to trace it with the thumbtack here on the inside of the ring, and now we have a line to cut along. I'm going to use the skiving knife right now that comes with the tool kit, but for this step, a normal kitchen knife or a box knife or a razor blade would also work. First, I'm going to set the piece down in front of me. I'm using the thumbtack from the kit to just pin between two of the stitch holes just on the inside of my cut line to keep everything lined up. You don't necessarily need to do this if you don't have anything you can push the pin down into, but it does help hold it in place. So I'm taking the skiving knife and I'm going to take it, just go over right at the end of that circle that I drew, and I'm just going to push straight down on it. And then you have a straight line that you're going to cut up to. I'm taking the pin out at this point. I'm just going to be watching it, make sure that it doesn't get skewed, make sure that these two pieces don't come apart from each other. But just as I keep an eye on it, I'm going to take this knife, I'm just going to sort of rock back and forth with it and just cut off bit by bit around in a circle. If it doesn't look like a perfect circle as you're cutting it, don't worry too much about it. Every collar is going to be a bit different when you get done. That's the whole point of you making your own collar. And as far as the little square bits right here, those are going to round off when we get to the beveling stage. So again, I'm going to use the tool that comes with the kit right now. You can also use the safety pin or the push pin for this if you didn't get the kit, and that should work fine too. The best way to make sure that you get your new stitch holes lined up is take the piece that you just cut off and lay it down over the end, your new end, and trace the stitch holes with your awl, or again with your push pin, and just press it all the way down through the leather. And you'll get new stitch holes just like this. Then just take your awl, or again your safety pin, and or push pin, and push it all the way through. You're really giving yourself a favor by giving yourself some nice fat stitching holes. It might look a little bit funky right now, but it's going to clean up really nice in the end. Now we take our thread, our second set of thread off of the card. And just like the first time, you thread the needle, pass it back through itself. And straighten out your thread. Make sure there's no knots. And do it again on the other needle. Remember that what you're piercing through, again, is the tail, not the bulk of your thread. Okay, you pierced it through, you have a tail hanging down, pull on the thread, and then pull it back over and down onto the thread itself. So you should have something that looks like this. So what's happening right now is you've got your thread coming up, passing through itself, and then looping through the needle. So we're going to start stitching again from the same hole that we left off at. And you're going to pass from the left to the right. We're going to pull your thread out until you find the center. Now we've reached the end, which is also the beginning, and we're going to do the same thing we did before, and we're going to do 3 back stitches to lock that stitch. And again, we're just going to trim off the excess thread. Don't worry about getting too close. We're going to get a little bit closer in the next step.